Hello everyone, my name's Cliff and welcome back to my channel. This is Cliff's Dark Gems. Today I'm going to be talking about an awesome present I received yesterday, and that is a brand new Kindle. Now today I want to talk about a few anxieties I have about this Kindle, a few things that I need to think about, so please stay tuned and enjoy. Okay everyone, now number one, the big thing is that I love books. I love the look of books, the covers, I love handling books, I love the pages, the actual act of turning the pages. I love everything about it, the smell of a new book. I love collecting books. If you look at my bookshelf behind me, this is something I've been doing my whole life. And I don't see myself just suddenly changing from that to something completely different. Maybe it might just take a bit of time, but I love books. So the thought of having a Kindle and reading from a Kindle as opposed to a book is a bit scary for me right now. The second thing is that I don't think I need to handle a book with kid gloves, like worrying about dropping it, not that I do it on purpose, and that I break a screen or stop it from working completely. These are the kind of things I'm a little bit worried about with this Kindle. It looks a bit fragile, and like when I'm reading from it, I just hope that I look after it. If I drop this and break this, that's all over, game over. I also have to plug this in, whereas with a book, I can just pick any book up and just read it. There's no reliance on technology. I don't have to worry about stuff like that. Now one of the things that I've heard about a Kindle is that it's convenient. When you travel, when you go from place to place, you can just put it in your handbag or put it in your backpack or whatever you use and take it out and read on the plane and just whatever you're doing. I don't travel much. I don't actually fly at all, and to think that that is a convenience, it doesn't really appeal to the reason why I would want this Kindle. Also, the idea that it's waterproof. I'm not going to be swimming with this thing, okay? I'm not going to be swimming with this, or even reading next to the sea or reading by the pool. There's no chance this is going to get wet, unless I spill a drink on it, but then I'll just clean it up. So the idea that it's waterproof, I think, is a bit laughable as well. I don't drop my books in water either. I've never done that, so I don't see a problem there. The final thing I'm worried about is that reading from a screen might not be as immersive as reading from a book. Now we spend most of our lives looking at screens, laptops, cell phones, computers, TV, and now the book has always been something different. You're looking at paper, not a screen, and that's kind of, I think, subconsciously makes it more relaxing and immersive and more gentle. So to get used to reading from a screen for pleasure is something that I'm a little bit worried about. Okay, now we come to two reasons why I am absolutely delighted to have this little thing in my possession. First of all, that you can read with a backlight, so I can read at night, and I can also read when the power goes off. Now in this country the power goes off regularly. We're starting to get used to it. We're sort of using our lifestyle. We're manipulating our lifestyle to deal with the outages. Sometimes we're out for 6 to 8 hours a day. And when the power goes out at night and I've got no night light, I can just put the light on the back screen. And for me that is incredibly convenient. Now finally we come to the biggest reason why I love this little Kindle. And that is now I have access to thousands of books. Well, even more. I don't know how many I can fit in here. But I have access to so many books that I cannot find in this country, that are not available in this country. And it's particularly horror. When you go to any place in South Africa, a bookstore, most of the horror you're going to find is Stephen King, Dean Koontz, and maybe a few other things here and there. But there are authors that you just cannot find. So for me, this is a spectacular thing. And I spent yesterday, when I got this Kindle, going through my Goodreads TBR, and I found so many titles that I could add to my TBR on this Kindle. And I spent hours and hours doing so. I think I've got about 150 titles on there now of one to read. And there are about 6 books that I've added there that I'm going to show you, just to give you an example of books that I would never be able to find here, and I've looked, believe me. And maybe what you can do is, once I've given you these examples, just comment, let me know if you've read any of them, let me know if you've got other suggestions and what you think about my books. Okay, so here are some examples of affordable titles that I found on my Kindle that I'd love to actually buy almost right now. And the first is Off Season by Jack Ketchum. And yes, for a little while now I've been wanting to dip my toes into a little bit more extreme horror. And you might be saying to me, don't be crazy, that's not dipping your toes, that is diving in full on. But I've been looking at reviews of Off Season, and I think it's going to be wild, a little bit fun. You know, what's wrong with a little bit of fun-loving cannibals? So I'm really looking forward to that title. Next we have Dweller by Jeff Strand. And this looks like a very, very interesting premise, and I'm looking forward to getting my hands on this. Thirdly, we have City Infernal by Edward Lee. Now this is something I've also been looking for everywhere around the country, and I reckon I'd have to get it imported if I read this book. It's another extreme title. As I say, I want to explore that a little bit more. But hey, if I don't like it, don't have to read it. The next is Falling Angel by William Shortsborg. Now the reason I want to buy this book is because I watched the movie Angel Heart with Mickey Rourke, and I'd love to see how the book ties in with the movie. That's another one I won't find in this country. Okay, next we have Mexican Gothic by Silvia Moreno Garcia. Now I've heard good things about this on BookTube, so that's another thing that I would like to do, is I would like to find the books that are really, really raved about on BookTube and get my hands on them as well. And also new releases, obviously, but a lot of those are pretty expensive, so I think I'll maybe just be doing 1 or 2 of those a month. But yeah, I'm quite excited about that. The 6th book is Gone to See the River Man by Christopher Triano. Now that's also been raved about on BookTube. There's so many. This is just a handful, and I would love to get my hands on that. And I think that is also pretty extreme, but I'm looking forward to reading that book. And finally we have The Rising by Brian Keane. Now this is a book, it's an older book, but I've been looking for it forever. Everywhere, every bookstore I go, I cannot find this book. So actually I'm going to prioritize this book for next month. And that's another thing. Those are all the books, but this is actually playing hell on my mind because I've got a TBR for this month. As I've showed you already, I'm determined to stick with that. I'm determined to finish this TBR before I get to my little device here. Let me know what you think about that. And also, once again, let me know what you think about the books I've just mentioned up there. Have you read them? Do you agree with my choices? Do you think there's some other stuff that I should prioritize? Please let me know. I'd love to hear from you. And also, people, I would love to hear your opinions and your ideas about books versus Kindles. Which one do you prefer? Do you read a bit of both, or do you just stick to electronic e-reads or actual books? I think that for a while still, till I get used to this, I'm going to be mainly reading my books because I have a lot of books unread in my library, but I'm going to use my Kindle to find new titles. Now I have heard of this Kindle Unlimited. I'm not so sure how it works, but I'm not going to get to that straight away. I also like the idea of owning something as opposed to borrowing something from like a library. But let me know in the comments below what you think about Kindle Unlimited and what you know about this conversation, what you think about this whole debate. Look forward to hearing from you, and in the meantime, take care of yourselves and keep those pages turning. Cheers.